What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are actually going to be doing a what I read in a week. If that sounds like something interesting and entertaining for you guys, definitely stick around for the video. It's reading time here at JB's Corner. For those of you that are new here, my name is Jaya. I put out videos every Wednesday and Sunday on bookish related content. We talk all things books here because your girl has a fiction addiction. If that sounds like something that's in your alley, definitely stick around for this video. Today we are actually going to be talking specifically about dark academia books because August for me is dark academia season. I am definitely 100% mood reader, and so that's the vibes I carry on this channel. If that sounds like something fun for you guys as we enter into August, actually I guess we're past entering midway through August, then this should be a fun one. I will also preface this by saying I have been in a mild reading slump. I don't know how to explain it. There is something about summer that just drains my energy. I know most people are 100% summer people. They love the summer. They gain energy from the summer. I'm the exact opposite. I'm a summer baby that is Texan and born and raised in Texas and of Indian nationality that cannot handle heat. It is the biggest juxtaposition I can possibly think of. But yeah, that's the reality of my life. And so I am a winter girly all the way. Summer just zaps me of my energy, so I'm very much ready for the fall to be here. That being said, the summer heat has just done a number, and so we also had a few days in the middle where we didn't have AC, so I have not read as much as I normally would. I also just want to say, for anyone who's new here, welcome to the channel. Thank you for being here. It's so exciting to be able to share this passion of books with you guys and to just meet people with like-minded interests. For those of you that are returning, thank you so much for being here. It means the world to me that you're here to support me and talk all things books with me. I appreciate all of your comments, all of your thoughts, all of your interests. It's just so much fun to share this passion for reading and books in general. That being said, let's jump into the video. So I actually thought I would start off with the book that I have not yet finished, but I'm just dipping my toes into so far, since we are doing a what I read in a week situation. And that book would be none other than Enigma by RuNyx. This book is basically set in Mortimer College, which is kind of located in the village city of Mortimer, which is its own world that's fully focused on the academic castle that has been converted into the school. There are deaths that have occurred at this school, and our main character basically mentions that she lost her sister who attended Mortimer ahead of her. They come from a very prominent family. They come from legacy. They're rich, but our main character herself has always been a little strange, a little not ordinary, because she's very fascinated with the macabre and with death in general. She kind of sounds like someone who would do well in the world of pathology and criminology, and she just loves to understand why things die or why things happen the way that they do. And so she has taken it upon herself to figure out why the death of her sister occurred when she enters into the school. And the beginning of the book literally starts with her stumbling upon a dead body in the vicinity. So already we're at a very interesting place. We also have a lot of romantic-y vibes in this book. You definitely have that dark romance feel. So she already has an interest in Kaz, who also happens to be one of the TAs of the professor that she's been looking forward to study under, who specifically focuses on psychology. So we already have the intro of Salem and Kaz so far. We already have the first murder that has already been introduced, and we get a little bit of a feel of Salem. I'm still very early in this book. I'm only on page 50 on chapter 4, but I'm already loving it, and I'm very curious to see where this book will take me. So super pumped for that one. The next book that I was able to get through was actually via Audible and Kindle. Kindle does have it on their library, so if you do have a Kindle membership, you can actually read it for free. It is included in the Kindle $15.99 per month membership. In fact, the first 4 books in the series are. This book is called Truly Devious. It was written by Maureen Johnson. It is the first book in a young adult series. The story basically focuses on our main female lead character who finds herself going to a school because she wants to figure out how the murder that occurred in that school years ago happened, and she wants to solve the cold case. which is why she's decided to apply and go to this school. All of the residents within her dorm are there because they are gifted in some way, shape, or form. It's a school for the advanced, essentially. We have one who is an actor. We have one who is kind of broody and shady. We don't know too much about him. His name is David. He's also what looks like the love interest of the series. He definitely has love-hate relationship with our main female character. We also have Ellie, who comes from kind of commune living, hippie lifestyle, loves like acting plays, that kind of thing, but simultaneously is quite brilliant and very, very intelligent. We have, I want to say her name is Jasmine, but I don't think that's correct. Janelle, who is into engineering and building things, and she's very, very good at it as well. And then we have one other female character, Val, who I don't actually remember what she does. But all of these kids are very, very gifted in their own right, and they've all come to the school for a different reason. They do get a little suspicious of our main female character lead when she mentions that the whole reason she is actually at the school is because she wants to solve murders. And so there is definitely a lot of shade thrown Stevie's way initially. However, as the book progresses, we find out there's another murder that's taken place at the campus, and basically Stevie's on the case to figure out how the murder happened and where it happened. The book itself is the first installment of 3. It's going to be a trilogy, so we don't get the answer to the murder in the first book. However, there are suspects that come to light in the first book, and I'm sure it'll be explored further into the second book. The first book very much focuses on developing the various characters and really helping us understand Stevie as an individual and a character. She's very unique, very quirky, very strong-minded, very, very different than the classic teenage lovesick girl, and very, very motivated. So it's interesting to read about her. She also suffers from anxiety disorder, and she has a lot of social anxiety. So it's very interesting to see her interactions with other characters and people throughout the course of the book, because you can see that social anxiety kind of rear its head as Stevie figures out where she belongs in this group and whether or not she can ever really fit in. So that part was really fascinating to read. It's also very curious and entertaining to read her initial reactions to David, how she blames her body in a certain way for having the reactions, the instantaneous interest that it has towards David, the attraction, how it bothers her, how her heart rate bothers her, how she doesn't like the fact that she gets flushed. It's very interesting to read. And it's also interesting to see David and Stevie's relationship as it starts to grow, because we can really see the begrudging respect and interest along with the antagonism and the fear of like someone breaking into their hard worked out coach shell. So very interesting novel. I do see myself finishing the trilogy eventually. I don't know if I will finish them all this month, but it was quite fascinating, and I would give the book overall a 3-star read. For those that don't know already, one of my favorite dark academia novels of all time is We Were Villains. It is actually probably the book that got me into dark academia, and it was written by an author named M.L Rio. It is a novel that's basically set at a prestigious local small college where everyone who's going there is essentially a thespian, and they're studying Shakespeare in particular. People who graduate from the school end up on Broadway and other high stream careers in terms of their acting. And a murder takes place in the college, and basically the story follows the 5 main characters that are involved and how the murder occurred, who the murderer was, what the resolution was. Classic pieces of dark academia. And when I found out that M.L Rio had released another book, I had to get my hands on it. She recently wrote a short story called Graveyard Shift. Now, this book is actually also dark academia. It does take place campus adjacent. It does have a multitude of very interesting, quirky characters, and it's written from the perspective of each of the different characters as they basically go through a night shift where they meet up at the graveyard and they discover something foul taking place at the campus in one of the research labs. So we're getting the story told from the perspective of Theo, who is a bartender who works in a bar near the campus. We get the story from Edie, who happens to be a college student at the university, and she is interested in journalism and reporting, and she's basically the prime editorial chief of her college paper at this point. She's just recently been appointed to the role, and she's doing everything in her power to break a lead story, and she's kind of on edge that she hasn't found the perfect story yet. We have Hannah, who is kind of And in between, like, nobody. She's an insomniac. She's very, very emotionally drained. Borderline sociopathic is the way she's described. She is not someone that has a lot of close friends in any way, shape, or form, but she also has these 5 people that she always sees whenever she goes to the graveyard for her cigarette breaks. That's how all these characters know each other, by the way. They go to the graveyard specifically to smoke. The graveyard is the in-between ground of the local city as well as the college campus, and it's the only quote-unquote safe place where people can go to smoke. And so these guys meet in the dead of night in this graveyard that has been basically derelict and decrepit and has been falling apart and has danger signs and stay outside signs all over the place to grab a smoke because it's a safe place to be. Then we have Tuck, who's also the groundskeeper of the cemetery. However, at this point, he's also just in a phase of misfortune. So he's actually living at the church. He's kind of lost his student status in college, and he's interested in the study of mycology, but he never really had a chance to continue his long-lasting studies. And then we also have Tamar, who is someone who's on tenure to work at the library at the university. And so all of these different characters basically come together in order to solve a mystery when, while they were enjoying a smoke, after they disperse, a man mysteriously shows up in the graveyard to dump a bag of something into an open grave that is found at the campus. Not the campus, at the cemetery, in a place that no one has used in ages, years really. And so Edie finds her story. She decides to start digging. And this group of individuals who usually just join together for a smoke have a thread going on their phones called the Anarchists. And throughout the course of the book, which is basically written in time periods, starting from midnight, going all the way till 7 a.m. in the morning, we get the story of what is going on and realize that there's something happening on the campus with a pharmacology lab that is actually leading to the creation of a drug that can actually have serious, long-lasting psychological impacts on its patients. Very, very, very fascinating novel, very quick, very fast-paced read. I don't want to give too much away with this book. I also love the fact that because one of our main characters is a bartender, they literally have the recipe for the drinks in the back. We also have the recommended playlist to be heard with this book as well, which just makes it even more fun and special. But I would definitely recommend picking up The Graveyard Shift if you are interested in a fun, fast-paced, dark academia novel that'll keep you at the edge of your chair. And M.L Rio, once again, does not disappoint. This book absolutely sucked me in during a period, I may say again, where I have had major reading slump. So this book was a solid 4-star read for me. Absolutely loved it. The last book that I ended up going through is actually a young adult novel by Faridah Abike-Iyimide. I hope I'm saying that correctly. This is an African author who is based in England that is writing the novel. It is very much focused on racism. So I will put that out there right there. If that's a trigger point for anyone, don't pick up this book. But it is very, very much focused on white elite culture and its negative, derogatory effects towards African-American individuals. This book is basically taking place in a area that is where Devious is a major white college. It's very, very rich, affluent, powerful, and that school tends to accept 2 African students every 10 years into their college under the pretense of scholarship. And then we have the neighborhood surrounding, where we have the people on the right side of the track and the wrong side of the track. On the wrong side of the track, we have the more socioeconomic damaged families who are also dealing with like problems with drugs and other things within their lives. We are following the story of Chiamaka and Devin, who are basically being targeted by an unknown entity at school named Aces, who is starting to share all of their dirty little secrets in the hope of essentially making them feel so bullied and overwhelmed that they leave the school. And as the 2 characters start to realize that there's a bigger conspiracy than they may know, they are forced to work together even though they don't have any other relationship to one another in order to unveil what is actually taking place and take revenge on the party that is targeting them. It's a very, very powerful novel. It's very fascinating. It's very fast-paced, I would say. easy to read because it is young adult language, but I will say it's overwhelming. And I will say that none of the characters feel fully redeemable to me. I do think that even with the characters that were being bullied, they're not 100% in the clear either. They're also human. They've also made mistakes. We also see bullying in regards to sexual orientation. So if that's a trigger, also consider that before you go into this book. Our main male character is gay and our main female character is bi. And you do see both of them getting targeted for that as well. And just a lot of racism. I will say this book is overwhelming. If that is something that bothers you, it was for me. I think it was just a very intense read. I think it is a topic that needs to be talked about. I think it was a very fascinating read. I do think it was perfect dark academia, young adult vibes. I think the author did a good job with the book. And it definitely resonated with me emotionally. I do feel like the ending of the book was a little over the top. The best way to describe it is if you guys like shows like Pretty Little Liars or The Lying Game, you are going to absolutely love this book. It is definitely in the vein of those types of books where the ending ends up being explosive to a certain level where you're like, I don't know if this would ever happen in real life, but it was nonetheless fascinating to read. And I would still give this book a 3-star. Now, for me personally, this book is probably what slowed me down and put me in a little bit of a slump just because of everything that's going on in the world right now. And it was just emotionally draining, I think, to read about so much hatred in one book. However, that being said, it is a very important conversation, I think, that needs to take place. And I do think, you know, it was a book that's well written, but it is angry. So I will put that out there. It's an angry book. And there is a lot of bullying. There's a lot of damage that these children take, fights, psychological scarring, which I think is hard to read. But that being said, it's still a great book. I ended up, again, giving it 3 stars. I think for me personally, just because it did take me some time to digest this book and get through, it took me almost 10 days to read this book, which is unheard of for me. It did put me in a little bit of a reading slump, but that's okay because I do think it was a book that needed to be read, and I'm very excited to discuss it in discussion club when the time comes. Discussion club in book club. And that does bring me to the end of this video. Let me know what you guys think. I tried to describe all the books without giving spoilers, more just atmosphere and slight character development so you kind of know what you're going into the book with. But I definitely believe that for the most part, people should go in blind with a book because it just makes it that much more fun and you get to create your own opinions and thoughts on it, which is the beauty of reading and sharing our thoughts on what we do like and don't like about the books. That being said, if you guys have read any of these novels or if you read anything in this vein that's dark academia that you feel like I need to pick up, definitely leave me a comment in the boxes below. I actually love reading the comments. I love responding to them. I love creating a conversation around books, and I love the bookish community we're cultivating on this channel. So I would love to hear from you guys, new or returning. For those of you that are new, if you did enjoy the content, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell so you never miss out on any new videos. I would love to have you back as part of the community. And for those of you that are returning, I could not do this without you. You mean the absolute world to me. Thank you for sharing my passion for books and being willing to hear me ramble on about them, and for starting conversations with me on these novels. It means the absolute most, and I just love how much books open us up to the world and to new ways of thinking, and it's just so amazing, and I'm so glad to be able to share that with each and every one of you. That being said, I do want to say to everyone who's here today, thank you so much for being here, and I hope wherever you are in the world, you're feeling safe, loved, and secure, and you're getting plenty of time for self-care and reading. I will catch everyone on the flip side with the next video. Bye, guys.